In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode. It is going to be very dynamic and exciting, and I'm glad that you're here with me today. We're going to dig in kind of a different format. First of all, I'm going to have a special guest named Robert Douglas, who is a software startup executive with a couple of decades of experience and a track record of funding and growing companies from seed to scale up. And Robert was on the show a few months ago, and I appreciated that you brought a special news announcement about MCP development and some really structural changes that had happened in AI. Robert, welcome to the show, and thanks for going on this inferential walk with me around software development today.
Hey, Emmanuel. Thank you, and glad to be here again. And hi, everybody. And I hope you enjoy this one. It's going to be fun.
So, a little bit of a backstory is that as we've all experienced this news flash called vibe coding, and I think what's really cool about this, and I've seen it now for myself as I've dug in as a non-coder, but with lots of ideas, is that I've built a number of tools that are middleware between marketing needs and the LLMs, and some are just automations or just cool bits of code to solve some simple problems. And inside that vibe coding, been able to create more problems for myself in terms of what do I do next. And so I brought to Robert this interesting little solution, which was to take care of some of the anonymity that needs to be created in order to not train the LLM on personal or private or intellectual property type data. And so, Robert, maybe you want to talk a little bit about what that early part of the process.
Well, I mean, let's describe the need a little bit better. When you want to work with an LLM, but the source data that you're working with is full of personally identifiable information, you are bound by law to not share it with third parties that don't meet certain certifications or with whom you don't have certain attestations and contractual agreements. You could be fined or put in jail even, I guess, if you breached that in a significant way. You could be disbarred or lose your medical license. So you might ask yourself, why aren't doctors using ChatGPT to help diagnose problems? They probably could benefit from that in some cases, but they can't send ChatGPT your data in most cases. So that kind of highlights, in my mind, in a nutshell, the problem that you're addressing with this product. It's not just about not giving them training data. It's about violating the law and the agreements you have with your customers to not share their data.
Yeah, or in the situation that we saw in the news where somebody put in all their financial statements from E-Trade and Robinhood and their bank and said, hey, how do I make more money from my accounts? And then just basically dox themselves. So, yeah, there's a couple layers. Anyway, we know that we need to have secure this data either for intellectual property and business reasons or just for standard data hygiene on the personal level. And so my idea was to call this data anonymization, which is a terrible marketing word. But what I created was a piece of software that was called Secure AI. And it was my intention was to have that be able to upload financial documents or an HR review, and then have the identifiable information stripped out and some placeholder information put in, push it up to the LLM, do ask some questions, improve it, and then bring it back down and be able to share it inside company resources. And at that point, I then said, "Hey, Robert, how about if I share that with you, and you tell me what it looks like from a programmer's point of view, this marketing idea."
Awesome. Well, I mean, scroll down the page and explain what's on the page, and then also explain how you built what we're looking at, and also explain what it does.
Yeah. So the thing about I used the tool called Lovable, and let me just show. I'll change screen shares here. So I went in and I had a conversation basically with this software, and I started. I don't know. I think I probably spent about 3 or 4 hours on this. Where my initial prompt was, I need help building a tool that will allow a professional to upload a file with company IP, like financials or legal case file, and then anonymize, then send it to an LLM like ChatGPT or Claude, write prompts and get answers back from the LLM without the file showing associating the IP with the company or legal case. Can you help me with that? So that was the beginning of the premise of this product, and it actually, the idea came from a podcast that I did with a smart software developer on the East Coast, and we came up with a couple different ideas that needed to happen. So that was the first thing. I ran through about 2 hours or 3 hours of
Vibe coding.
back and forth, right? And doing getting into my the best level that I could, complete with a landing page and a free trial. And the idea being that it would be bank level security, be focused on executives, and that we would have whatever the standards are that are currently the levels of protection, so that it would pass through the industry specific compliance checks, and then that there would be some anonymization that would happen, both for legal names, for financials, for the human beings, and other identifiable pieces of data, and that it would be a simple process where I would take an Excel file or a PDF, upload that PDF, and then I'd be able to share it with choose a LLM that then I could interact with and get some more answers out of that document. So that's where I got this vibe coding. That's where the progress I gave to Robert.
Yeah, and in full disclosure, the landing page there is just that. It's a landing page. There's no back end or front end functionality that actually does any of the things that you imagined, which is fine, because really nailing the conceptual underpinnings of it and defining the need and the utility is really the first step of product development, right? So you completed that step really convincingly. I saw that and I was like, yeah, why not? And then I took a look at what you had done. You invited me to Lovable, and you wouldn't come, in my opinion, a lot further with Lovable. Now, this is not a knock to Lovable, but there's a certain amount of control that you need as a programmer over what you're doing and in the environments that you're going to work in, and decisions you need to make about where it's going to be hosted and all, that some of these online tools are not quite yet ready to accommodate all of the flexibility you need. I think maybe Replit might have given you more of a chance of actually succeeding with everything that you need. But I thought, okay, Emmanuel and I are going to talk again in a week. I'm a really busy guy, which is true. I've got a little son who keeps me very busy, and 2 or 3 or 4 clients who keep me even more busy. And then I've got my life to live. But I was like, I bet that with the new tools, I could vibe code the rest of it based on my experience as a programmer.
Love it.
And so without further ado, I'm going to premiere and for everybody out there, Emmanuel hasn't seen this. That's the fun part. He has no idea. He has no idea what's coming. So I'm going to show you what it does, then I'm going to talk you through about some of the design decisions that I made from the programmer's point of view and what it takes to actually fulfill some of the promises that you had there on the screen.
Nice.
All right, so I'm sharing my screen. Let me know when you see it.
All right, we've got the screen there.
Okay, so visually, the only thing that it has in common is that it's still called Secure AI Full Stack Integration. And this is a demo. This is not meant to be the actual user workflow. It's everything that we need to see on one page so that I can test it out. So you start out by authenticating. You then move towards uploading a document. I've got my LinkedIn profile here as a PDF. And then the next button is called Client-Side Document Processing. What does that mean? That means we didn't upload the PDF to a server. We brought it into the program running on my desktop called the browser. So far, Robert Douglas LinkedIn profile has not left the building, okay, so to speak. It's still nicely here in the room with me and hasn't been sent anywhere that it's not supposed to be. Remember all the HIPAA and SOC 2 compliance data that you can't send as a doctor or an attorney without, facing legal repercussions. So the first thing it does within the browser, without uploading it to any server, is it extracts the text. So here's a sample of the text from my LinkedIn profile, and right there we see the exact type of personal identifiable information, phone, email address, that we are meant to detect and prevent from leaving my browser.
Oh, interesting.
So
I like that it's identified. Yep.
The next step is to actually detect it and to anonymize it. And now you'll see that it now says phone and email and name instead of the PII that it was there before. Now it does say upload to backend. This would upload something to a server, but the important question is what? First of all, it's only uploading anonymized text, and it's also uploading it in an encrypted way, so that only you, with the keys that you would then have in your browser, could later decrypt it. And that's super important to that bank grade encryption and security that you were promising on the landing page. So I really took you to your word here. So I upload that. The document name even is anonymized, so it's just this big long hash at this point. You can see how big it is and the date, but there's no other information about this document that could link it back to me in any way. So then I can list my documents. I've tested this a bunch of times, so they're all there. And here's the fun part. Now we initialize our Secure AI chat. So it says chat widget ready, document context loaded. That's a bug. It shouldn't know that it's called Robert Douglas LinkedIn profile. I'm going to fix that after the show, but it should have the 107 anonymized entities inside of it. So I can now chat to this document. So like, in what role was I CRO? I didn't test that. Yeah, great. So it knows that. But if I were to look into what actually happened here, you get a little bit of an assurance that the LLM never got the thing. No, it's in here somewhere. I'm not going to sit here and find that on the show. It's better to demonstrate something like my mother's name is Jane Doe, and try to send that. Look what it sent. It didn't send Jane Doe.
Oh, it's dynamically anonymizing.
Right. Now, I might have jinxed myself for the next part of the demo.
Yeah.
I can then extract that and de-anonymize it. No. So, yeah, like I said, I jinxed myself for the demo. There are still some things here. It can only handle either the document or Jane Doe at this point. I need to fix that. I'm just going to redo the process so I can actually show you the nice part here.
That's all right. I love it. I think I love the thinking that you put into it in the sequential and being able to check in on what's being anonymized and
yeah. And this is the way a developer thinks, is they do things in order, one step at a time. They check all the inputs, all of the outputs along every step of the pipeline. So now I can do with my document back into the context. So I had inadvertently in my little demo there replaced the LinkedIn document with the Jane Doe document in its memory, which we can work around and enhance that. But for right now that we've got the LinkedIn profile in there again, I can say something like, write me a cover letter so that I become the CEO of Google. Okay. And it says, dear hiring manager, I was entrepreneur in residence at Name 23 and co-founder at Name 24, and it's signed sincerely Name 001. Now what I can do is I can bring this down, and I hope to God it all works. The demo effect is sure to bite me at this point.
That's okay.
So here's the full letter.
Yep.
There was no date in the original, so that I'm going to have to fill that in later, but I should at least expect email and phone to be filled out. And in fact, it did a pretty good job. Somehow it's hallucinated a name 001 that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But you can see that it put the email and the address back in the right place. And in fact, it's said entrepreneur in residence at Open Strategy Partners. Where's another Name 24 should be in there somewhere, at co-founder at various startups. That was a really important one to anonymize. Let me tell you, I would never want ChatGPT to know that. But yeah, there we go. So, and there's a success metric down here for me to think about this. So this is really nice, and I'm quite like where we got to with this. It's not perfect yet, but it's really close to the point where people could easily see the utility, especially if we, were, to do more stuff like my home address is 1234 Cherry Road, Fish Lake, Wisconsin. It should definitely it anonymized at least the road name.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
So there's some work to be done still to get the anonymization a little bit more watertight, to get this hallucination done. But the design decision of doing all of the document processing and extracting the anonymous data or the PII data and keeping it in the browser and only using the server for the data that's already been anonymized will make this product much more easy to certify and also give the users of it a much higher level of trust than if we were sending the full document to a server somewhere that
Right.
would then take the PII out and put it back in. Because that's just shifting the problem. If the problem is defined as nobody wanting or being legally able to send PII to a third entity, and ChatGPT, OpenAI, or Anthropic, or Google, or Microsoft being those third entities, what's the difference if we make another third entity that they still have to send it to?
I agree.
And
Yeah.
in this product, it's actually the only product I've ever seen on Earth where you can literally chat and copy and paste PII into your chat bot. You're still talking with ChatGPT or Anthropic. Right now it's ChatGPT, but we could use any model we want in the background. That's totally configurable. You can still chat with your model the way that you want to, but it never gets the PII, even if you paste it in here. However,
Right.
you can put the PII back into whatever it sends you back. And I think that's a unique product. So congratulations, Emmanuel. We just built a unique product.
Wow, that is amazing. And I'm curious, Robert, what was your vibe coding process? I mean, where did you actually do the work?
Yeah, let me show you a bit of that as well. It looks a little bit different than Lovable because it's being done within the user develop or the integrated development environment. Is that what it's called? IDE that I use to code. So
Okay.
what we're looking at is basically called VS Code. It's a very popular code editor. Everybody I know knows how to use it. And what we're looking at, for those who are curious, is simply a Python-based fast API backend with an Alpine JS-based front end. Really no magic in either of those. And, it's maybe the front end here, for example. If I were to look at the JavaScript here, here's the actual anonymizer. So there's a crypto manager, a document processor, an entity mapper, things that you'd expect. Here's the PDF processor, and it's just plain old code.
Yeah.
None of which I wrote directly. Because what I do, and this thing that's going crazy in the bottom here, is the terminal, and it's running a program called Claude Code.
Nice. So you've got an API with Claude that's writing code for you, like I was doing on Lovable.
Exactly. So Claude is actually doing the programming, but there are a couple really cool features, and I think I can kind of demonstrate it safely here because we've committed my changes to Git. The working version is safe.
Okay,
and
good.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, create a swarm. Swarm is a key word here, of agents to investigate the code, analyze the functionality, and do the following. Provide a security analysis that requires bank and military grade security. 2, write extensive documentation in docs as MD files, so markdown files. And 3, generate all of the typical I need to activate the voice dictation.
Oh,
I could
yeah, there
just
you go.
speak it much quicker. It'd be much more vibe if it were like that.
For
Because
sure.
I type fast, but not fast enough to be gripping.
That's all
So
right.
the entertainment value of watching somebody type into a terminal is really low. But what happens after this is really cool. So keep paying attention.
I love it. Yeah.
So generate all of the typical PII containing documents in a folder where I can later go through them and test them. Sorry, I accidentally hit caps lock and went into Karen case
Love
suddenly.
it. Yeah. You're yelling. Why are you yelling at me?
Right. All right. So what happens here is fantastic. It analyzes my request. It thinks through the tasks, picks a number of agents with individual roles to oversee, coordinate, and execute all of those tasks, and launches them into parallel processes. And we get to watch it happening.
Wow. And
So
so,
it's
yeah, so
flibber
this
jittering.
is you talking to Claude talking and bringing back code for you.
Yeah. So it's going to Cloudflow, Swarm, and Init, all of these different agents, as you can see them. And
Wow.
this is a UI glitch that looks like the Matrix, which is
Yes.
also kind of cool. This actually has entertainment value. But if you look at what they're saying like there's an orchestration task. There's a specialist called test data generator. There's a specialist called technical writer, a specialist called API security analyst, a researcher called PII security researcher, a crypto analyst, not cryptocurrency, but cryptography for
Nice.
so encryption, a security lead to organize those guys, and a task list of all of the things they're meant to complete.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to guess this is going to take 15 to 20 minutes, just from my experience.
Sure.
But if I had hired, a developer or an intern or a couple smart people to do that, I could barely explain the task to them properly in 15 to 20 minutes.
Right.
So, and just a note on the accuracy, there's a lot of criticism about LLMs for giving wrong answers and going off the rails. And it's all true. Every word of it. You always have to remember LLMs cannot think. They don't understand anything that you say. They are really just doing pattern matching and next token prediction, like people like to say. However, if you put those into the right guardrails and have enough passes on it where you're measuring the outcome based on some sort of criteria that you've defined, then you can iterate towards really good results, which is what you're seeing happening here with the 7 or 8 agents that are working on this. And I think for people's, like, I'm sorry if there are any epileptics out there, this is probably triggering for you. So we'll stop sharing that for now.
All right.
And if in the process of the conversation, it has an output that I can show you, we can switch back. But that's basically the process that I use when building the product that I just showed you, for example. I think through the architecture with my experience. I explain the problematic to either ChatGPT or Claude. I get a project plan. I put it into this Claude code and say, spawn as many agents as you need to accomplish this. Then I go and test it, and it's broken. First pass never works. It's broken 7 ways to Sunday. And I say, okay, I see this bug. What do you think happened? I think what happened too, but Claude's better at going to the right place in the code and fixing it faster than I could.
Oh, interesting.
So
I like that.
Claude do it.
I like that. That gives me some hints for how I could speed my process up too. Thank you.
Yeah. And if I see it doing something mistakenly over and over again, I say, hey, Claude, I see you doing this thing over and over again that I don't like. What can I tell you that would help you do better next time? And whatever that is, please write that into your instructions.
Right.
So it coaches itself how to do its job better.
Interesting. Wow, that's brilliant. So tell me, like just on this project, how many hours you put into it, and how much time it saved you to do it with Claude supporting you, and in relation to how you would have had done it in the past.
Yeah, I would say that the time savings is, first of all, a misnomer
Okay.
and impossible to quantify. I would have never even attempted to create this product
Oh,
as a solo
interesting.
developer. It
Yep.
has some areas of domain where I don't feel particularly comfortable as an OH only human developer, right? Especially, I never focused on front end interfaces, and modern JavaScript frameworks terrify me. All of them, every single one of them: Vue, React, Next.js, Alpine. I get the shivers. So I tend to stay away from projects that require a lot of that being done unless I have some assistance. I had never attempted in-browser document processing, in-browser cryptography before, so that was, would have taken some research. But the, so it's more than time savings. It's that I could experiment into a frontier where I would have needed to pay my dues
Yep.
first before I even started, let alone measure how much time it would then take me. So, I mean, you'd have to pay the dues and then amortize those dues payings over all of the coding sessions that I would then do with that knowledge that I would have had to gain. And this is precisely why I stopped programming in around 2012 or 13 and focused solely on strategy and management tasks, because I thought, okay, I'm sitting on a much more powerful lever if I exercise my thinking as a manager than as a coder, and then we get domain experts for every one of the tasks needed to do the code.
Right.
But now I can do both. Now I can do the strategic thinking as a product owner, as a product marketer, as a developer, the synthesis of all my experience. I can dump it into something that has the domain expertise to write code in Alpine and do the Docker containers and make sure that the fast API and the Pydantic ORM are all firing on all cylinders, even though I never read a documentation about any of those, right? So I did this in 2 days, not even full days. So
Yep.
this is like me having lunch dates and business calls and deciding to found a company with some friends and going swimming. 2 days.
All right. Yeah. So this is it's amazing to be able to bring a product into this level of completeness from two humans spending 10 or 12 hours of specific time on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the nice thing is, you know what's left to do?
No, what's left to do?
Marketing.
Yay!
Now we got to get it out there and market it, because what good is it if it's just on my laptop?
Yeah, exactly. No, I love it. And I think, between the two of us, we have some individuals we could reach out to with a little a descriptor sheet and a rough demo, and we'll get some muscle behind it, because the need for data anonymization and security exists as much today as it did 4 weeks ago when I started this. So it's really cool to see what your work process is, and as a non-coder, as a marketer, to be able to have an idea, build something that's basically just a description of it, and then being able to pass it to you and have you do work your magic on it. So thank you so much for participating with me with such vigor and enthusiasm.
Please get back to me with the feedback that you get from your audience about whether anybody would ever use a product like that, because I'm quite curious.
Yeah, we'll have a structured process to get that feedback, and so yeah, absolutely, we'll dig into that. I think the other question I have is a more of a structural question for other non-coder people who see software solutions between these different softwares that we're using on a daily basis. What How do you recommend that they would either emulate or change the process I went through before giving it to somebody like yourself?
I think we did the perfect process, honestly, and I would encourage people to do exactly the same. You are not a coder. You oversaw several technical steps in that implementation that you could only think of if you had been trained in building web applications and had 15 to 20 years of experience. Right. What's surprising about that? Humans all have expertise. We go to dentists, not carpenters, when we need a tooth built, right?
Yeah.
They're both good with their hands and can use tools really well.
Yeah.
But you have specialties. We have expertise, and coders, developers, programmers are not going away. You need, though, however, to work with the ones who have chosen at this point to embrace the new technologies as multipliers and not to shun them or feel offended by them or threatened by them. And I see a very great divide between those two camps, and both are right. So the skeptics are definitely right that this is something that is going to change many things, and nobody's centrally controlling it, and if they are, they might be a jerk.
Right. Likely.
And the threat to jobs is realish, but it's not the narrative that people are saying. It's not the industry wants you to believe that there will be no more developers. We'll just tell the machines what to do and they'll do everything. There will be no marketers. We'll just tell the machines what to do. They'll do everything. Mark Zuckerberg thinks you want to look at AI generated ads from now until kingdom come. I can tell Mark Zuckerberg where he can go shove his ads. I don't like that. So it's not going to be like that, but you want to find a developer to work with you on your project that you prototyped on Lovable. Good. Use Lovable, use Replit, use Bolt.new, use whatever works for you to express your idea, explore into the space, refine it with the feedback that you're getting from your AI or your colleagues or your spouse, and then find a real developer who knows how to use AI really well. And then you can achieve magic. Then you can launch your next product in a week.
I love it. I think the other question I have, Robert, is what's kind of the next stage of development for making this airtight, this project, this secure AI product, and what are kind of the steps that are left?
The primary weaknesses are linked to the decision of the in-browser processing, because the open source libraries that I grabbed off the shelf to do the tasks of extracting the text from the PDF and then to anonymize it are imperfect. And there are commercial products that do a better job. So a real business built on this might then opt to license those products and use those instead.
Yep. And
then we have to also account for the fact that no matter what we account for, there might be some PII that slips through. Sure. So I would want to build a level of user responsibility into it where they can review the PII extracted and then click on the things that either should or should not be redacted.
Yes.
Like I should be able to click on various startups and say, not so necessary. You can take that one out, folks. But it did say that my LinkedIn username was Robert T. Douglas as one word, and it missed that.
Yep.
It missed that outright. So we would need the user to be able to click on that and say, you missed this one, anonymize it, and then it gets its own placeholder. And if we build that step into it, then the user has a little bit of control and a shared responsibility. Then we could say, yes, machines are imperfect. This process is highly sandboxed to your own browser environment, meaning we can't use an LLM in your browser. We can't use machine learning in your browser to do this at this point. The limitations just prevent it. So you are sharing the responsibility for making sure that none of the PII is there. So it's a tool to achieve perfection, but it'll have to have a shared responsibility model with the user that they sign off on before they use it, because if they miss something and there are consequences, that can't land on us. We're making a best effort, but the software needs to be used as is.
Yeah, and that makes sense. It probably matches the code of ethics that those professions would have sworn to anyway. So that makes a lot of sense. I love it. Well, good. Any last thoughts here before we sign off for this session?
Well, it was very distracting having you show me this product, Emmanuel. Do you have any more?
I have about 10 more. We'll talk about it off air.
All right. Thanks for having me back.
100%. I appreciate your time and your attention on this. And if people want to get in touch with you, I know they can reach out to you on LinkedIn with Douglas with 2 S's. Any other preferred ways to contact you?
Yeah, I'm Robert at openstrategypartners.com. And that's it.
All right.
I'm not on X. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook. I don't like those things.
Fair enough. Well, thank you again. And hang on while I close this out today. Well, it's a fun process to be in a creative space and think of a solution, develop it to a point where it's visually, it tells a story and potentially solves the problem that I envisioned, and then be able to bring it to a professional like Robert Douglas to bring in the back end coding, which I am never going to know for my entire life. And I brought in somebody who can solve these other challenges about making it functional software and potentially impacting how we use and leverage the tools, the LLMs, so that we can put in information, documents, source material, and still be able to interact and get the benefits of the LLMs, but still keep personal information personal, or business information personal as well. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode and got some value from it. I also hope that you take some time today to dig into your work processes and find activities that can be automated or transformed by an AI tool, and with that time that you get back, that you spend it continuing to upskill, that you spend it with your friends and family, or that you get outside in nature and enjoy the fresh air and some reflection to yourself. Thanks again for joining me. This is Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening.